From family events to volunteer opportunities to community happenings, there is a lot going on in your community. Learn about all the possibilities and opportunities on this episode of Community Hotline.
Hi, and welcome to Community Hotline. My name is Monica Weitzel. We're here at MetroEast Community Media in Gresham, Oregon. Tonight I have with me a couple of people who are going to be talking about the Nadaka project. I have with me Jim Labby, who is an urban conservationist with the Audubon Society of Portland. Welcome, Jim.
Thank you.
And Lee Dayfield, who's also with Friends of Nadaka, and you're a neighbor in the Wilkes East neighborhood.
Yes.
So tonight you are going to talk about the Nadaka Nature Park.
Nature Park and Garden Project.
And Garden Project. It sounds like a huge project. Yeah. Who wants to tell me first kind of what it's all about?
Well, it's really an outgrowth of at least 2 voter-approved open space bond measures the last 20 years, and a series of community-led efforts that have resulted in securing over 12 acre, basically a 12-acre natural area in West Gresham, known as Nadaka, but secured into public ownership as a public park. And the project, kind of the latest iteration of the Nature Park and Garden Project, is this effort to really share, enhance, and celebrate Nadaka as a place, as we like to say, to nurture nature, food, and families in West Gresham.
Sounds wonderful.
And that means, in the near term, that means we're working on developing kind of a nature-based neighborhood park on 2 of those acres, which will have a community garden, a nature-based play area, there'll be some restrooms, some berry patches, and some other natural features that will really significantly enhance the site, enhance people's experiences on the site. And then in addition, we're also developing a 5-year operation maintenance plan for the site.
To keep it going.
Yeah.
Great. Now, where exactly is this? And it's kind of right in the city, isn't it?
Yes, it's in West Gresham, and it's located between Northeast Pacific and Northeast Gleason.
I think we have some maps that we can maybe bring up and kind of get an idea of where that's located.
It's right beside the 2-acre recently acquired lot is right on the east side of St. Aidan's Episcopal Church.
Okay.
And there's an entry now on the south side, which is the Gleason side, and on Pacific there's an entry gate on that side as well.
Okay, okay.
It's right at kind of the intersection of 3 neighborhoods, Wilkes East, Rockwood, and North Gresham.
Okay. So if we can bring those pictures up, I think we have a site map, and we can get a better look. So what are we looking at here?
Well, this is the Nature Park open space. That's the 10 acres, actually, that was acquired in 1995 with funds from a Gresham open space bond measure that passed in 1990. And then the lower 2, kind of in reddish color, are what we call the Nelson property that was acquired in 2009 with grant funds from East Multnomah Soil and Water Conservation District, Metro, and a pretty significant donation from the Nelson family estate.
Nice, nice.
And that was important because it provided access south to Rockwood, towards Gleason, that didn't exist before.
Okay, and then here is a different view.
Yeah, that basically just shows the whole neighborhood, and 181st and 162nd would be the 2 big main streets that it's in between. And then in between Gleason and Halsey, basically. It's that general area.
Right, right.
That the little blue one is St. Aidan's Church.
Okay, okay. So what has this area been used for in the past?
Well, from 1956 until 1991, it was a Campfire Girls camp.
Oh, okay.
And
okay.
it had an 8-foot, which still does, had an 8-foot chain link fence around it with barbed wire on top of it. And it was not open to the public. And part of a Metro Nature in the Neighborhood's smaller grant that I got, I did have the barbed wire removed from the north and the south edges of the park so that it looks a little bit
It wouldn't
better.
be very inviting, would it?
No, it isn't. It wasn't. And so the city of Gresham bought it in 1995, but the gate on the north end remained locked until 2001. And I've been working on it for 4 or 5 years now, organizing cleanups, and got a small grant from Metro Nature and Neighborhoods to buy things like doggy pots and trash cans and a wooden sign and tools for cleanups and things like that.
So has it been open then, since then, for the
Since
public?
2001, yes.
Okay, but not well maintained yet? I mean, it wasn't,
There
not really
just
developed.
wasn't, yeah, there just really, as far as I know, until I got involved, there hadn't been much activity in the park. I mean, the city of Gresham was maintaining it, mowing the grass on the south end, but there weren't any activities going on a regular basis.
So who spearheaded this whole project to get this changed?
We did.
You were it, huh?
I guess so.
It only
been
takes
some-
one person to start, doesn't it?
There's been definitely a lot of groups involved.
Yes.
Wilkes East Neighborhood Association, St. Aidan's Church, East Rose Unitarian Universalist Fellowship, Audubon Society, we've been involved too. But Lee's really been a key rallier for the project and getting people in there and caring for the space. So.
And why did you want to do that, Lee?
What
was your motivation to do that?
Well, it's beautiful, and there. It might sound kind of corny, but it's when you go in there, it's really magical. You're right in a neighborhood of homes and apartments and a lot of activity, and then you walk into this 10-acre forest, and it's.
You feel like you're in the middle of
middle
of nowhere.
Yeah,
huh?
it is really a beautiful place. And I recently read something by Dr. Jackson, who said that walking 5 minutes in a natural area can reduce your stress and your blood pressure, and it works at Nadaka.
That's great. And are there very many parks in that area right now? I'm trying to think what's
the
close by there.
Pat Pfeiffer over near the Powell Center on 172nd, but it's mostly a park that's used for softball and soccer and things like that. It's more of an activity park as opposed to
as a nature park. As a nature park.
There's really, I mean, I was part of a study that the Coalition for a Livable Future did in 2006. It looked at park access throughout the region, walking distance to nearest park, and Rockwood definitely, compared to the rest of the region, has worse access to parks in terms of walkability.
That's kind of what I was thinking, and it could really use that.
Yeah, partly it's due to the street network. There's not a lot of connectivity. There's large blocks, that kind of thing. But it's also just the fact that some of these sites, like Nanaka, haven't been able to be open, or they haven't had access points that could significantly increase the number of people who could use them. So that was part of the effort in 2009 to acquire the Nelson property, which really kind of took it into another level, where we got help from the Trust for Public Land. We worked with the City of Gresham, the Neighborhood Association to raise the money to acquire those 2 parcels on the south, which really basically almost doubled the number of people who could reach the park within a quarter mile.
Wow. So besides the Nelson property, were there a lot of other obstacles you had to overcome to try to get this project off the ground?
It was just all about money.
Yeah, it usually is, isn't it?
Yes. I guess I can tell this story, but when you're in the south end of Nadaka and you look through the chain link fence and you see this beautiful 2 acres, it was very easy to imagine children playing on there, food being grown and everything. And so I it was for sale, and I knew how to get in contact with the Nelson family. And at the time I first started being interested in it, it was for sale for $900,000 for this 2 acres. And I actually called and talked to the executor of the family, and because I thought it was such a wonderful project that they might want to donate that piece of property.
That would be great, yes.
Right, but they didn't. But luckily, as time went on, the real estate market fell, and I kept in touch with them, and it ended up going down to about 600 and some thousand. And there were some of the Nelson children that we got in contact with, and they thought it was a wonderful project too. So they did end up donating a considerable amount of the purchase price for the project. And then it's just been this working with the city of Gresham to come up with a master plan for the 2 acres.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, it's also been building our kind of network in the community and the number of organizations involved. We have about 17 organizations involved in this project in different ways. We worked, that kind of process actually really got underway last summer of 2011, when we had a kind of a visioning committee that we pulled together representing these different organizations and neighbors and interested folks, meeting at St. Aidan's Church. We met for about 3 months and came up with an overall vision, this vision of nurturing nature, food, and family in West Gresham. And that vision really calls for implementing this city-adopted master plan for the Nelson property, but also developing a 5-year operation maintenance plan, which also is going to include a significant amount of programming type educational activities there, things that are going to actually get people out learning and engaging and experiencing the place.
Well, before you tell me about the operation and the maintenance, tell me what can we expect? You said there's community gardens, there's playground area. Talk a little bit about what all is going to be at the park.
Yeah, it was an extensive kind of master planning process the city went through with the community to develop it. But there's a big key part is the community garden. And
how big of a garden are we talking about?
Well, we're hoping between 40 and 50 plots, and we're hoping to possibly, besides individuals having plots, that perhaps Snowcap, who is a partner, Human Solutions, who is a partner, will have maybe larger plots that will just be designated for
to support their organization.
And also there's a large apartment complex, and we've been talking to them quite a bit because they're right next door to the 2 acres. And
they probably have no place to do any gardening there. Most apartments don't.
Or play.
Or play, yeah.
And so we've been talking to them about possibly providing a section for their tenants to come and grow vegetables.
For those people living there. I mean, they must really be looking forward to that. Yeah. So, and then the play area, tell me about that. You said it's...
Yeah, that's going to be a very significant feature too. This is kind of an emerging area in terms of park and recreation type thing, is these nature-based play areas.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to figure out what you meant by nature-based play area.
And it's all about giving young people an opportunity to kind of experience nature in a safe environment, the kind of the tactile feeling of it's often made with natural materials, reused boulders, logs, different types of structure, often water features, because water and sand is something that kids love to play with and experience, and kind of using natural features to... Instead
of lots of big plastic tubes to crawl through, you have...
Right. Yeah. They're often very attractive looking, and
I bet.
Inviting. I mean, even adults, I think, are drawn to them for sure.
There's a wonderful one, if people would like to see an example of a nature-based play area at Blue Lake. Metro has one there, and it's very simple, but it's very sweet.
Good. Okay. And then what else? You said
There'll be edible berries. We talked, the master plan did call for some orchards, but we've looked into that, and the maintenance and upkeep and everything is, I think, more than we think is going to be appropriate. But we do want to have large sections of edible berries like blueberries and raspberries that people will just be able to go along the paths and just pick them as they go.
Knowing they haven't been sprayed. And
exactly, it will be all organic.
Good, wonderful.
There will be restrooms there, and we're talking about like a covered area for picnicking, that kind of thing.
Wonderful.
So it's that process is still underway. There's plenty of opportunities to get involved and help kind of shape as we kind of refine the master plan and get towards construction documents that we need to actually move forward.
What's the timeline for all this?
It's a little bit, depends on continued funding. We've raised probably close to half of the $1 million that we think the whole project's going to cost, and that includes a lot of in-kind support. But if we can next year maybe secure a state grant, we could perhaps start construction late next year.
That'd be great. So going forward then, the operation and maintenance of this project, tell me how that's all going to work.
That's going to be a pretty innovative piece. I mean, when we sat down originally with the City of Gresham and said we wanted to move forward with this, and the City of Gresham, it's probably a lot of people know, has been cutting its parks department.
Yeah, they sure have.
Severely.
There's this, quite severely. I mean, there's this history of Gresham voters really supporting parks, but in recent years, it's just budget constraints have really been severe. Yeah. So the city said, well, you can do this, but you'll have to raise the money to maintain it because we don't have any money to do that. So that we really are engaging the community in that effort. We're going to be fundraising some, but we're also going to have the church is really interested in being involved in some of the programming there at St. Aidan's Church. In terms of they have a kitchen there, and there's a nice complement to the community garden.
Oh, that'd be great.
We have an organization called Verde that specializes in workforce development and creating green jobs for low-income people, and we're hoping that they're going to have a role in the maintenance of the property.
So will you be looking for other organizations too to work with you?
Potentially, yeah.
Okay. You have some pictures I think you brought that have to do with the operations and maintenance. Maybe we can take a look at those and you can tell us what we're looking at here.
Yeah,
so that's a huge project to keep it going.
It is, and it's going to build off a lot of the work that Lee's done already to get neighbors involved in doing a lot of these cleanup projects.
Is this
Lee
a
can
cleanup
talk about.
project right there?
Yes, this is cleanup, and there isn't much trash at all in Nadaka. It's primarily ivy and holly and laurel, and those are the things, and something called Herb Robert or Stinky Bob, and the kids from the school really like to work on that.
So are those invasive plants?
Yes, those are all invasive. So these are Girl Scouts. Because I've been doing it so long, actually the city just refers anyone that wants to do volunteer projects in natural setting to me. This is a Girl Scout group, and so
you're the go-to person.
Yes, for Nadaka anyway. So they primarily did Stinky Bob and ivy because it was two things that weren't too difficult for them. And we have, I'm not sure which group this is, but we've had so many over the years. But we also have the students from H.B. Lee in the SUN program, and also the SUN program from Park Lane Elementary. They're coming on Friday. This is the festival last year where we had sack races for the children.
And who was this for? Just a neighborhood?
Yes, it's just for the neighborhood. And
so there's a lot of big open space for
this is on the 2 acres.
Okay.
There is a meadow as well at the south end of Nadaka. But
this was actually the community festival last year, which was the first annual, and then the second annual is coming up on August 11th. But we had booths, and we had our educational birds out there, and we'll have them out there again.
From the Audubon Society?
Right.
Yeah. Oh, that's great. So the community festival, that is this part of that too? Is that one of the birds from
Yeah, that's Ruby, our turkey vulture.
is it a fundraiser, the festival, or is it just a celebration?
Yeah, we're basic. I mean, that's a good idea. If anybody wants to bring money or anything,
you'd be happy to take
yes.
it.
We could use it, yeah.
What is this we're looking at?
This is kind of a funny story, actually, which I'll be happy to share. We had a Eagle Scout put up some birdhouses, and they were torn down, and so the kids at HB Lee made some new birdhouses, and it was raining that day, so I took over some black trash bags because I thought
ponchos?
yes, because I thought the children probably would not have raincoats, some of them. So they went over there to help put the birdhouses up, and that was a friend, David, who was installing those new birdhouses. And these are children from Hollydale Elementary School, and they have come out for the last 2 or 3 years and as their Earth Day celebration. And there are probably about 50, 60 children that come out that day.
Wow.
And they really love it. These are some students from HB Lee.
Well, this is a great place for schools to bring their kids to learn about nature and to incorporate science classes and do community service and.
Yeah. This is Boeing came out to one of the cleanups, and the Friends of Trees, and planted 3 really nice trees at Nadaka, large trees, and. The children actually at HB Lee have been coming over about once a week this summer from the Sun program. We were over there today, as a matter of fact.
Good. Well, it's a great opportunity for kids to really get down and dirty in the dirt but be giving back to the community and learning things at the same time. So I imagine you would encourage any organizations, nonprofits, or schools, or any kind of businesses, if they want to do some community service, to contact you, the go-to person.
Right.
Yeah.
There's the Friends of Nadaka website, and there's a big part of what we're trying to do in addition to getting grants, but is also procuring donations to build the neighborhood park there through the community. So we're developing a whole system to kind of to do that, to ask and
good. Yeah. So if people want to give donations, or if they want to volunteer, they could go to the website and
there's
and
contact.
Go from there.
Yes, contact information.
Well, before we run out of time, tell me a little bit more about this community festival on August 11th. What can we expect there? I know that it's from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. Is it a chance to work in the facility, or just to play, or what? Both?
Well, from 9 until noon, we'll have a cleanup, which means removing invasives primarily. And we have tools and gloves and things for volunteers to use. And we'll also have refreshments like coffee and juice and probably bagels for the volunteers in the morning. And then from noon until 3, we'll have free hot dogs and chips and soft drinks that are being provided by Albertsons very generously.
Great.
And we'll have some live music.
We'll have the educational birds.
The educational birds from the Audubon Society, and some face painters for the children. And then we'll have some organized games for the children too, and we're not selling anything. We'll also have the big display about the proposed
project
and everything.
Design for the preliminary design for the nature-based neighborhood park.
So this is kind of a fun for the whole family sort of day.
Yes.
Yeah, and it's
that
free.
doesn't cost anything.
Yeah, that's great. Nadaka, where does that name come from?
Well, it's a kind of abbreviation of Nature Day Camp, the original Campfire Girls Camp.
And that was the name of the camp before, so you just kept it. Great. What else do we need to know about?
Well, people can, if they want to just find us on Facebook, they can find the Friends of Nadaka there.
Like you there.
Yeah.
Right.
Yes.
And we'll be having, a lot of meetings went into this. There's lots of fun things outdoors, but it takes a lot of meeting time and figuring things out. We really encourage people to get involved
Well, especially if they're in the Wilkes neighborhood or the Rockwood neighborhood, or those are two that would be most involved.
Yeah. There's lots of jobs, lots of ways people can contribute without giving money, and so
good.
Yeah, and
we welcome folks.
Yeah, there's always also boxes on both ends of the park that show the dates of the cleanups and things like that are going on. And I don't know if we should mention, I think we should, the MIG firm.
Oh yeah. There's one of the first things we did to get going on the neighborhood park was to hire this firm MIG to help us develop the construction documents and go through the permitting. The Columbia Slough Watershed Council is the fiscal agent for the project, and will be basically we have to have a development permit to actually do the improvements.
Sure.
So they're helping us go through that process,
navigate that,
and develop a design. I think that's going to be amazing. I mean, it's the way there's some challenges on the site in terms of sunlight, make sure the garden plots are in an area where they're going to get enough sunlight to be viable.
You don't want them to. You want them to thrive.
Yeah. You don't want to put a garden plot where it won't be productive.
Right.
And other issues in terms of just flow and connectivity to the original 10 acres. We really want to manage the full 12 acres as an integrated whole, and they're helping us with a design to do that. Wonderful. The one other element I should mention, there are going to be improvements that the city requires on the north side on Pacific Street. We've tried to kind of embrace this requirement as an opportunity to really create a nice entryway there to the north entrance, the access point. So
it's just one lane on Pacific, and then the other lane is dirt, and so they're requiring that we put in another lane and a sidewalk and a rain garden.
It's really the way sidewalks often get built is as development occurs.
Right,
and this is treated like any other kind of development, even though it's a little different.
Well, it sounds like a great project, and we're out of time, but I thank you both so much for coming on and sharing about Nadaka. It sounds like it's going to be a super addition to the neighborhood and for the whole community. So
thank you so much for having us.
Yes, thank you for
welcome.
having us.
So if you're interested in finding out more, please go to their website. If you'd like to help out, you can stop by there. You can contact Lee. She's their go-to person. Or you can also come to the Community Festival on August 11th. This is Monica Weitzel. Thanks for watching Community Hotline.